Looks like I got myself a little tripod here. Now I can walk around and do all sorts of crazy shit and be mischievous on all sorts of levels with you guys and gals out there. But today, I'd like to talk about one Steve Spurrier and some remarks that he made about Dan Mullen, and not only internally, but externally, which I have a feeling that the old ball coach, who is the originator of coaches trolling and talking shit, in my opinion, way back in the 90s with free shoe university shots at Bobby Bowden, old Steve had some choice words about Dan Mullen externally, probably about his bunny humping wife. Let's talk about it. Sporting land, this is JPC. I am the OCF, that is your outlaw of college football, and this is the home of the common Joe and the common Sally and the know, even more so than all those media talking heads. Twice. All right, now getting right to it. Saw a little article the other day that said Steve Spurrier had a few choice words about old Dan Mullen and his bunny humping wife. It seems that not only were there discipline issues within the program internally, from what Steve said, there was also a lot of issues outside the program that they weren't really in approval of. And they are probably speaking of the fact that Dan's wife seemed to take a certain fetish to kissing players on the mouth. On the mouth. You know, it's bad enough when you see, and you know, everybody's different, I guess, but it's bad enough when you see people kissing their kids on the mouth or other people on the mouth out in public. But to just go up to a young man, and their hormones are racing about this time, and kiss him on the mouth, it just don't sit well with a lot of people. And it's just a little too much touchy-feely for me. And a lot of people were making jokes about her, saying that she might be a female version of Jerry Sandusky or some shit. And so the rumor mill starts, and the bad publicity keeps flapping out there, and Dan's just being wild-eyed and bushy-eyed like he always is in his press conferences, saying all sorts of crazy, off-the-wall, left-field shit. And he can't even control his wife from molesting the players out there. So that was one thing. And another thing is that Dan, for whatever reason, thought it would be a good idea after they struggled to beat Samford and give up, I can't remember what it was now, but I think it was like 56 points to Samford or something. I think I beat them 70-56. He decided that at his press conference that he would praise his team for overcoming adversity. I could understand if you come back and you beat LSU 70-56. They could even beat a sorry LSU team, by the way. I can understand something like that. Or even your in-state rival Florida State, who's down, and you come back and beat them 70-56. But Samford is not even a good FCS, whatever, CIA, AAU, whatever the acronym is today for the Division I AA, which it still should be. They're not even a good team on that level most of the time. And you give up 56 points to them. Probably should have lost that game, to be quite honest with you, if it wasn't for Samford's defense being worse than Florida's defense. So, I mean, and a lot of people will say that Steve Spurrier should mind his own business and that Steve Spurrier shouldn't be meddling. He's got that Phil Fulmer-esque type personality right now. But that's not the case with Steve. I don't believe that. I don't believe he's like Phil Fulmer, meddling and trying to puppeteer people like Phil Fulmer's done for over 20, 30 years, you know. But we won't get into Phil. But Steve's a little bit different cat. Steve, he's a legend at Florida. He won the Heisman Trophy there. He won them their first national championship, won them their first SEC championship. So Steve should be given a little leeway. He should be able to come in there and voice his opinion, and it should matter. But the reason why a lot of people were like, man, Steve had something to do with Dan Mullen getting fired is because Steve lives across the street, from what I understand, in the same neighborhood as the athletic director at Florida, or I think his name was Strickland. I think the current athletic director, I think his last name is Strickland. Y'all can correct me on that if I'm wrong. But from what I understand, they live basically in the same neighborhood across the street from each other. So people feel like Steve maybe is meddling and he's got too much say, and that he helped push Dan Mullen out. Because honestly, Dan Mullen as a coach has got a pretty decent record at Florida. I think he's 34-15. Now, the last 2 years, he was 13-10. But I think that comes with a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff. And the same stuff happened when Urban Meyer was there, Ron Zook, even Steve Spurrier had to deal with a lot of these boosters behind the scenes that seem to think that they should have a say in everything just because they donate a few dollars. And Florida is going to run into the same situation that Alabama did back in the early 2000s, 1990s and whatnot. They're going to run into the same situation as Tennessee, and they're going to run into the same situation as Texas. If they don't get the boosters under control, that's going to be an issue for whatever coach you bring in there. I mean, Billy Napier may be the Steve Spurrier stamp of approval, but not even Steve Spurrier could put up with the constant nagging and bitching from the boosters when he was there, because he left for the Washington Redskins. People say he done that because he wanted to try the NFL. Well, we all really know that Steve was sort of burnt out and got fed up with some of the boosters there. They can say what they want to say, and I have no actual concrete proof of that. But there's a lot of fire out there about it. So, it's like the old saying goes, where there's smoke, there's fire. So, you guys and gals tell me what you think. You think Steve Spurrier was meddling too much at Florida and he should have let things ride out the way they would have rode out regardless with Dan Mullen? Or do you think he has a right to come in there and voice his opinion accordingly because of the legendary status he has at Florida? I'm going to go with the second part of that and say that Steve should have some say. He should have some say because of the way he handled himself with the University of Florida and how he's always been there for the University of Florida. And that's all I got to say about that. Like, share, comment, and subscribe to this channel. And as always, KMCA to all the other teams.